Go ahead and call tonight's meeting to order. As you can see, there's no video out here in the council chambers, but it is being broadcast, so people are watching you as it's being broadcast. Well, you're warned. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let's have the roll call.
Kessler.
Here.
Kanega.
Here.
Rarden.
Here.
Ewert.
Here.
Benner.
Here.
Parton. Here. Crum.
Here.
Thompson.
Here. Invocation tonight by Pastor Monty Leichner of the River of Life Worship Center.
Let's pray. Father, thank you again for this opportunity and privilege to come and pray this council meeting. God, I thank you for these men and women that have taken their oath and their time out of their schedules, God, to help lead this city. I pray, God, that you'd give them guidance and wisdom tonight, that everything that needs to be accomplished will be accomplished. And as they lead us forward, God, that you would just give them direction, guidance, and strength. And we just give you all honor and glory and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start the presentation and approval of minutes of July 10, 2017. Ms. Kessler?
Make a motion we approve the minutes of July 10th, 2017.
Second.
Motion second to approve the minutes of July 10, 2017. Discussion? Question?
Kessler.
Yes.
Kanega.
Yes.
Rarden.
Yes.
Ewert.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Parton.
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Item 1, citizens to be heard. A, Sedgwick County Fire. David, send anything?
No, sir.
No. Okay, we'll move on. Item 2, approval of licenses and bonds. We have none. Item 3, introduction of ordinances and resolutions. We have none. Item 4, notice of communications. A, government body announcements. Mr. Crum?
Well, I slacked off this evening to get my list of things for the library, but I know that the summer reading program is wrapping up. It's an ice cream social coming up this week.
29th, I think. 28th and 29th.
Okay, that's what I was thinking was this week.
Same time as the
Yeah.
Pride Still.
Okay. So you can look out for that. You can give the library a call. They have movie nights about every other Monday. Their parents as teachers reading still goes on, I believe, at 10 a.m. So go in and check out the library. There's always stuff going on. They've got their Lego things and their board games that they do on a weekly or bi-weekly schedule. And so just contact them. There's lots of stuff going on. That's all I have.
I've got one for you to let the council know that we have been approved through WAMPO, Wichita Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, with which we are a member of. They are the organization that distributes the federal funds for roads and that type of thing. They had a section come out wanting to work on surveys cities may want. We've been approved to do a walkability survey study on how to tie all of our residences into the hike and bikes. So we've been approved for that. Plus, there's another section of the transit we've been approved so that we can look on how to get additional bus service into Haysville. We've had people asking about additional transportation, so we've been approved for that grant with Wichita Transit to do this. So we'll look forward to those. They're supposed to get started any time on doing those two surveys that are out there. Mr. Crum?
I know it's just a study, but I was curious on the walking paths, trying to tie everybody in. That's going to include like Wordsworth and what about the houses, the island annexes we have off of Hydraulic and that kind of thing?
Every residential area that we have in Haysville, down south, that residential there, so all the way out on Hydraulic, Wordsworth. So yes, surveys can take in all those areas.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So we'll have at least a survey away that what's going to take to get everybody tied in to get to the line of life so they can get out and get that down. Okay.
Thank you.
Item B, memo to council regarding new businesses. Looks like we had the Body Wellness Massage Clinic, LLC, over in 711 East Grand Suite. They were here before, but have come back. We'll move then to item 5, old business. We have nothing. Item 6, other business. A, presentation of 2016 audit report.
Evening, Commissioners. Greg Sevier, partner with BKD. This is our second year of a 3-year contract for performing the audit for the city. And I think I was on the agenda 2 weeks ago and had a unusual ailment. I guess racked up to old age. I'm not sure what it was otherwise. It kept me from getting here, so my apologies for that. But you have a copy of the 2016 audit report. First page of the table of contents is the independent audit report. If you compared that to the last several years, you'd see that it's template language, same language that we've used in the past. I think one thing to highlight is if you go to the second page of it, and you see at the top where it says adverse opinion. Of course, adverse is not an adjective that we necessarily always think of being positive, but adverse, what it says in this context is that the city prepares its financial statements and keeps its accounting records on what's referred to as a regulatory basis of accounting, which is kind of a modified cash basis. And I would say 90%, if not more, percent of municipalities in the state of Kansas use that basis of accounting. So there are a few exceptions, very large municipalities in the state that use what we call GAAP basis or accrual basis, but everyone else uses this regulatory basis of accounting. Well, it doesn't conform to generally accepted accounting principles, and so that's why we say you're in conformity with regulatory basis accounting, but you're not in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles. But again, if you looked at 90% of the opinions that are issued out there, they say the same thing. But we want to say that the responsibility of the accounting records and internal accounting controls are the city's. Our responsibility was to conduct an audit, perform an audit on those financial statements. The report start is the first fold-out page after that, and it's a report that shows all of the city's funds that they utilized during 2016. You'll have the beginning balances, receipts, expenditures, ending balances, and then to the extent that the city has encumbrances, those are added back to come out to what your actual cash balance is. So we come to an ending unencumbered cash balance, we add back encumbrances. And encumbrances are commitments that the city has entered into with vendors or for services that you've committed those funds and didn't spend them until 2017, but as of December 31, 16, you've committed to that vendor for that service or goods or materials. The one adjustment that we made this year is if you go down under capital projects, which is about 3/4 of the way down, you'll see the Haysville Activity Center acquisition project. Under encumbrances, there's an encumbrance of $141,835. We proposed a journal entry that the staff recorded in your financial records, so that would be the only number that there would be a difference between your internal financial statements that you might have reviewed at December 31, 16 and this audit report. It's actually a retainage number that's from the general contractor, so that's the retainage that was being withheld by the city until the project's complete. Well, technically that's an encumbrance because the contractor or subcontractors have performed the construction services, but the city's withholding payment until the project's completed. But it truly is an encumbrance. So we put that, recorded that encumbrance in there. Other than that, your records are in great condition. There are no other adjustments. Things tie, things reconcile when we come out. There's always supporting documentation for any of the items that we ask for. Banks are reconciled. It goes very smooth. Staff does an excellent job with your accounting records, and you have a very good accounting system. If you look down at the bottom of on page 4, you'll see where your cash balances are maintained. So we come down to an ending cash balance. Something to note there: if you look at total beginning cash balance of 5.4 compared to an ending cash balance of 4.4, about a $900,000 drop in cash. Well, if you go back up to that Haysville Activity Center, you'll see that you spent $1.2 million of those funds during the year. So that cash balance drop was actually more than your other funds. If you go down and look through all the other funds, you'll actually see that by and large, your cash balance is increased in all the funds except that activity center fund. So your cash balances are really, for all your other funds, are in better condition at the end of 16 than they were at the end of 15, with that one exception. And that was anticipated. I mean, that was, you'll be spending that money down every year. The next page starts the notes to financial statements. And again, there's no new notes this year. Amounts and dates may have changed, but note 1 discusses the city's accounting policies. Note 2 is a discussion of the budgetary process that the city goes through every year, that you're probably in the midst of beginning that process for 2018. Note 3 is discussion about the city's coverage in capers. If you go down under the net pension liability, you'll recall that several years ago, the state had a large project to determine what all municipalities under capers, what their share of this unfunded pension liability that exists with capers. And you can see in that first sentence that it shows what your share and the city's share of that unfunded capers liability is at December 31 of 16. They update every couple of years. I think this one's as of December 31, 15 that they roll forward into like June 30 of 16, and then they give us that number to reflect. That pension liability is not recorded in your financial statements. It's just a liability that exists out there. And we would hope that the state will shore up capers funding. They keep pushing it back, but would shore up capers funding to reduce that liability. But I think ultimately it becomes the municipality's obligations if the state doesn't ever meet its obligation. But compensated absences is discussed in note 5. Vacation and sick leave policies. Note 6 talks about deposits, and as you're all aware, you're required to have all of your deposits and your bank balances either covered by FDIC insurance, or to the extent that your balances are in excess of FDIC insurance, you have a third-party securitization. So your bank that holds your deposits pledges their securities to secure your deposits. Your FDIC coverage in 2016 was $500,000, and the bank pledged more than enough assets of their assets to secure the balance of your deposits. So you were fully secured for your deposits all of 2016. Kind of a generic note on note 7 about risk management. Note 8 shows the interfund transfers that are made from the various funds they went from to the funds that received the money and the respective amounts. The status of the capital project for the activity center is noted in note 9. Note 12 shows a recap of the long-term debt. It shows all of the debt that's outstanding at December 31 of 16. Other than just routine maturities, the big item in 2016 was the refunding series of $6.5 million that went to pay off bonds that had higher rates. And so you'll see that addition of 6.5, but that was used in that next column to make reduction in payments to either retire in full or retire the parts of the bonds with higher rates that could be paid off early. On the page following that, there's a recap of the principal and interest that's due each year for the next 5 years individually, and then in 5-year increments until they're fully paid off out to 2036. After that is required supplementary information, and the rest of those reports. On page 14, you'll note that there's a summary of expenditures where we compare the funds that are subject to a budget to the actual amount that are charged to that fund for the year. And you'll see in that far right-hand column that the city was under the published budget in each of the funds during the year. And starting on page 15, going through the rest of the report are just individual detailed statements for each of those funds, and it's just got more detail on revenues and expenditures beginning in any cash balances that are recapped on that first statement that we talked about. Last year we made a recommendation in a management letter regarding some check signature policies. That those changes were made during the year, and we noted no weaknesses or deficiencies in internal accounting controls for 2016. though I think you have a management letter, but I think it pretty much just discusses, you know, required communications between us and the city. So there's no other things to note in it. But be glad to answer any questions that you have about the report, you know, our processes, or questions about the financial statements.
Questions, council? Mr. Crum?
I guess what you're really saying is that we really need to tell our staff that they're doing a great job, that we're doing what we're supposed to do, and all our money's where it's supposed to be, and we're keeping track of it like we're supposed to.
I would agree.
Thank you. Thank
Danny
you,
and Will,
staff.
and the rest of them, yeah. Great, no more questions. We appreciate
Thank you.
you coming down and going over that with us.
Thank you, and
We always look forward to having a clean slate.
yeah, and, you know, we're available during the year, so if things come up and you have questions throughout the year, Will knows that we're available. So if you have questions during the year, feel free to call. I'd be more than glad to attend any meetings to answer any questions that may come up during the year. So again, thank you all.
Appreciate it, thank you. So moved. Item B, consideration of petition for water distribution line regarding Country Lake Second Edition, Phase 1. I think you've got some petitions and maps showing where those are going to be over at Country Lake. So Ben's here to go over those if you'd like, if you have any questions about those petitions. And then the first one is on the water. Go ahead.
Thanks, Mayor. Good evening. Ben Mabry, PC. This particular development, or this phase of the development, is 36 lots. The first petition on the agenda is the water distribution. All of these petitions are spread over 20 years. And I was going to, well, okay, so the water distribution, that one is 36 lots, so it's spread per lot. The next one is the sanitary sewer. That one's spread over 56 lots. And I wasn't sure if you had the map for the sanitary sewer, but it does show the lots outside of this phase that are included in the petition.
Sanitary sewer is your second map.
Okay, I don't have the water distribution.
There is no water distribution.
Okay, I was gonna say.
There are only two maps at the bench, and the reason for that is the first one shows the streets and the 36 lots. And for the streets and the paving and drainage and the water, those are all considering the same 36 lots. And you have the second map, which is the sanitary sewer, because it adds on the other 20 lots, which they're going to spread the sanitary sewer on, because when they put it in, it's going to benefit those other lots.
Okay,
That's why I only put two on the bench.
thank you. So in other words, the water one is the same as the paving one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, Will.
They got first petition, looks like it's for 103,000 approximately for the water, which we need to do approval on that petition. Mr. Casper?
Make a motion, we approve the water distribution line petition, Country Lake Second Edition, Phase 1.
Second.
Motion second to approve the petition for Country Lake Petition Phase 1 water. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Kaniga,
Yes.
Barden,
Yes.
Hewitt,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
As Ben said, the next one is your sanitary sewer, which is being spread on more lots than your water and street. That's because of the way the sewer lays out, you're going to take the advantage of how that's being laid at this point. Mr. Crum?
Okay, so the sanitary sewer map we have in front of us has got the extra ones. Are they gonna benefit at a later date? Are those ones that there's not building going on right now?
Correct, so there's not gonna be paving or water line improvements on those lots, but in order to extend sanitary sewer to the 36 that are being developed, they already were gonna cross these additional lots.
So that's probably gonna be like part of phase 2 or something?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
It'll be in a future phase.
okay, thank you.
I'd say this will only leave 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 17 lots total, or 18 over there in the whole addition once this phase is done. With that, then, this is a petition for $459,000 for the sanitary sewer. Mr. Crum.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve the sanitary sewer petition for Country Lake Second Edition Phase 1.
Second.
Motion second to approve the sanitary sewer addition for Country Lakes. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Kanaga,
Yes.
Barden,
Yes.
Hewitt,
Yes.
Spinner,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
And item D is the paving and infill drainage for Country Lakes in the amount of $545,000. Mr. Kessler?
Make a motion we approve the paving and incidental drainage petition for Country Lakes Second Edition Phase 1.
Second.
Vote second to approve the paving and infill drainage, Country Lakes. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Kanaga,
Yes.
Barden,
Yes.
Hewitt,
Yes.
Spinner,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
And then item E is consideration for water line supply, which is $75,000.
I may expand on this one just briefly. This is the water supply line. And the other petitions were 100% assessed to the benefit district. This one has a 79% assessed to the benefit district and 21% assessed to the city. That is due to the upsizing of that line from 8-inch to 12-inch. And the city code includes a provision that the city will pay for that upsizing from 8 to 12 when a development occurs, and there's justification for upsizing to the 12-inch line for fire suppression.
That gives us the ability for additional development out in that area if it was to happen too. Mr. Crum?
Well, first off, I got it. Where's that line at that we're gonna upsize?
It will be along 79th Street. There's no line there now. I say upsize. The benefit district really only needs an 8-inch to serve their development, but it's city policy, it's in the code that they get upsized to a 12-inch if it's going to benefit future growth and also provide additional fire protection.
Okay, so it's not something that's already there, we're just gonna,
No.
instead of them putting in
No,
an 8
sorry,
that they're
excuse me,
required, we do a 12.
Exactly.
Okay. There's no other discussion, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the water supply line petition for Country Lake Second Edition.
Second.
Motion second to approve the water supply line, Country Lakes. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Kanaga,
Yes.
Barden,
Yes.
Hewitt,
Yes.
Spinner,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Move on to item F, consideration of publication notice of the public hearing requirement of 2018 budget.
This will allow us to go ahead and publish the notice that you see in your packet, and once this is published, that's the maximum total dollars we can levy. And so we have to have this published 10 days before the public hearing. The public hearing we're going to schedule for the 14th of August, which is the next regularly scheduled council meeting. So if we publish it in this Thursday's paper, that'll give us the 10-day requirement notice.
Mr. Kessler?
Make a motion we approve the publication of notice of the public hearing for the 2018 budget.
Second.
Motion second to approve the publication for 2018 budget. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Kanaga,
Yes.
Barden,
Yes.
Hewitt,
Yes.
Spinner,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Move on then to next item, which is the consideration of bids for Orchard Acres dirt paving and drainage improvements.
So we opened bids for this project on the 19th of July. We had 4 bidders. I think the bid tab was included in the packet. It is a 2-page bid tab, so there's a Part A subtotal, Part B subtotal, and a grand total for the project. With the 4 bidders, we had 2 that were around the same range, and then another 2 that were higher but in the similar range as well. All of the contractors we have worked with, and I guess the next step in this process would be for the council to consider the award of the project to the low bidder, in this case Conspec Inc., doing business as Kansas Paving.
Questions of our council? Mr. Crum?
So the bid that we'd be approving is the base in Part A, base bid Part B, grand total?
Yes, it totals $773,129.50.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the bid from Kansas Paving for $773,129.50 for the Orchard Acres street improvements.
Second.
And Dirk Street.
Motion second to approve the bids for Orchard Acres. Second, as presented. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Kanaga,
Yes.
Burden,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Move on to item H, which is the consideration of Haysville Recreation Department Paint the Night event. They previously had one over in, I think, 2 or 3 up to their church. This one is going to be one to be done in the new activity center. So with that, we go to item A, which is the public hearing for the waiver of the distance requirement. Mr. Crum? Or Mrs. Parton?
I had a question. In the letter, it states the Haysville Activity Center rental rooms and patio, but on the permit or the application, it only says indoor use only.
I did forget to mark the patio on that part, so that'll be a correction.
Marked out patio?
I didn't mark patio on the application, so that would need to include the patio.
The intent was to use the patio?
Yeah.
Okay. We're ready then to jump into public hearing? We need a motion to open. Mr. Crum?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on the malt beverage. What do you want to name it?
Yeah. No.
Distance waiver.
It's a distance waiver for the paint the night event.
Second.
Motion second to open the public hearing. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Kanaga,
Yes.
Burden,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
As usual, we'll go ahead and read from the script to make sure that we get everyone involved in all of the legalities where it's supposed to be. Have any council members had any outside contact regarding this matter? See anything? If so, please indicate who you've spoken with and the nature of the conversation, and if the conversation may affect your decision. Seeing none, will do any members of the council have a conflict of interest in this matter? If so, please disqualify yourself from further action on the city council for this case. You may choose to speak as a member of the public. Seeing none, we'll move on. Has the city received any written or electronic communications on this matter? If so, please let me know what they are. No one was jumping up, so I don't think we've got any. Now it's time for any member of the public to speak. You have 5 minutes if you are presenting good and factual information. This time may be extended by council vote. Please state your name and address if you would like to talk to council about this matter on the distance waiver? Seeing no one, we'll go with any questions from the public. Seeing no questions from the public, the public comment is now closed for council action. The floor is open to council member comments. Council comments? Seeing no comments, entertain motion to no. Mr. Kessler.
On the patio, that's fenced in, right? Patio fenced in?
Thanks, Mr. Crum.
I will probably vote against this if we include the patio. I mentioned before when we were looking at that, I wanted to make sure we have no smoking signs out there because that patio is so close to the street. I don't think the activity center is a place where we want to have unhealthy things promoted. I'm not saying that having a glass of wine is unhealthy. I'm just saying that it's right by the apartments. You're going to have whether you plan it or not, you're going to have people going up and down the street. There's going to be young people. And I would really prefer that if it's going to be at the activity center, that we keep it indoors. If it was going to be moved over at the library and they were going to do something out in the historic district, that would be one thing. But that patio is so close to the street, and that activity center is there for the health of the community. I think having drinking, even controlled drinking and smoking, or smoking, which I still want no smoking signs out there, I think is a mistake. And I would really prefer that this kind of activity stay inside the closed area and not come out onto the patio. And that's just my feelings. I don't know how the rest of the council feels. I just feel like, I mean, I drove by again tonight when coming here just to look, and that patio is just right on top of the street. And whatever's gonna go on the patio, anybody going down Sarah Lane or that's the street right there is gonna see it. And I would prefer not to have it out on the patio.
Other comments? Mr. Arden?
I guess I had a question for Georgie. Was there a reason why we put it on the patio and not inside the building?
Only just because during the event, sometimes people will get done a little sooner than others. Somebody might just want to walk outside for a minute, and that's the only reason, and that area is fenced, so just allowing it to be able to walk outside and come back inside. If it's nice out in the shade, that's the only reason why.
I kind of have to agree with Mr. Crum on this one. I'm not really in favor of promoting drinking out in the public. Like Steve said, if it's inside, that's one thing. But having it out there in the open and where, I mean, like Steve said, we've got that apartment complex right there. We've got a lot of young people there. We've got a lot of children there. You know, I guess that's my objection.
Mr. Kenny?
When we first started doing some of these things in some of the city-owned buildings, this was a concern that I expressed, and it's coming to fruition now, because now you have to start splitting hairs over how you're going to do the thing, and so that was my concern to begin with. I don't know. It seems like now we've got something that's going to keep coming about this way. So that's just something I wanted to put out there.
Zero?
Why are we moving it to the hack?
Setup and everything is easier there for us to move that stuff over for it and setting up the tables and chairs. It's our facility. We have room now, so we don't have to take a night out of the community room over at the community building. So.
I too have a problem with it being outside.
Not a problem. On the map, it's marked pink and blue, so the patio can easily be removed.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's up to the rest of the council, but I'm kind of with them on the.
Question, Josh. Can she just amend that event petition at this point? The petition, the event comes next. This is a waiver is what it amounts to. So the next one is truly where the event will be held and the approval of it. So to me, it would be amending the second part, not this part that we're doing. This is actually just talking about the distance requirements only. So we wouldn't be really amending this one until the second part of this comes up again.
I think that best procedure would be for the governing body to make a decision tonight regarding the waiver or not. And if REC wants to resubmit the application with the same or different description on it to be considered later, I think that would probably be the most appropriate course of action.
Okay. Again, this first section though is on the distance requirement, not where it actually is being held at this point.
All right, misunderstood, sorry.
Yeah, I misunderstood that too.
Mr. Crum?
So actually, because the application she turned in didn't include the patio, so the application's actually correct.
Yes,
The
that's
request-
the
the written
case at
request
this
is-
point. The one that you're looking at doesn't have the patio on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Which means that she would, if she wants to use patio, she'd have to amend it for the patio next time. Again, this is distance requirement. This is not location. You'll get that in the next part. Mr. Arden?
Nobody else has any other comments or anything. I make a motion that we approve the waiver of the distance.
Need to close the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, did we not close it?
I'd like to make the motion to close
I'll
the
make the
public
motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
hearing. Motion second, close the public hearing. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Kanaga,
Yes.
Barden,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, public hearing is now closed. If you wanting to waive the distance requirement, this is where we would need the motion for that.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make my motion to approve the distance requirements for the waiver as presented to the council.
Second.
Motion second to approve the distance requirement. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Kanaga,
Yes.
Barden,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Now we're going to do item D, is consideration of the approval for temporary special event permit application. Mr. Carmen?
I'll make a motion that we approve the temporary special event permit application as presented. So in the request, it's requested that the patio be used, but in the application for the permit, it is not included. I want to make sure that the patio is not included, that it's just the indoor facility at the hat to get this waiver.
Second.
Motion second to approve the temporary special event permit for the inside of the rental room at the act. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Kanaga,
Yes.
Barden,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Then this next discussion, I think, is kind of timely because of something that I think, as Mr. Kanagas truly said time and time again, is these come up more often, and I think they're going to continue to come up more often with the facility we have over at the activity center and with the facility being used for weddings over at the community building. That's the question, if you really want to get into changing the distance requirements, doing away with distance requirements, what you may think you want to do with distance requirements on the hearing part of it. Because if not, then we're going to have to go through every one of the public hearings for distance requirements, because the activity center and the churches, state limits are just, they abut each other. So we're going to have that problem every time that anyone wants to use the rental room and have alcohol inside the rental room over there. Anybody have an idea what you may want to do? Also, the legislature added the ability to designate special areas that can be set out for entertainment areas. And my understanding is if we were to make that an entertainment area, then we probably would no longer have the distance requirement to worry about at this point over there.
What are you saying, what part of the building? The whole building or just?
No, at this point, it would just be the rental room itself only. We can designate that in our ordinance.
Okay,
petition
just
we
the
have to
rental.
do. Right. So that would take care of that problem of the hearing part of it. That's there. Mr. Connect?
Would that also include, I mean, could that be done like with the band shell area of Riggs Park and that sort of thing?
We can go through and designate different areas into the city, no matter what it is.
Or,
We had exempted the activities, not the activity of the historic district previously, but this way we would be able to truly go in and designate the full area designation of the historic district also. And yes, we could go in to the Riggs Park and designate where there's an entertainment center there too. Yes. It'd be truly taking care of our public hearings on the district requirements all the time. We truly went in and designated these different spots where people are wanting beer gardens to be going in, and at least I see that we'll have more people coming in to use the rental room for parties or weddings and those type of things because of the facility we have at this point. And it'd be up to you whether you would designate the patio with it or not, or whether you just do the inside walls of the center itself and the rental room. So yes, we can truly set those. Mr. Kessler?
If you're looking for comment, I agree. I would like to see designated areas so we can waive just so we don't have to go through the waiver process.
Okay. For the council, what do you think? Huh?
If we did do entertainment centers, would they still have to go through the application process? We just wouldn't have to do the distance thing, but they'd still have the application process, so we'd still have a chance to see the application?
They still have to do a special events permit requirement, yes. Yeah. You still have to approve their special event, which there may be some special event that doesn't fit into having over there that you may not want to approve. So yes, the entertainment centers are only set up with approval on the special event part of it.
Okay, and then, Will, maybe you can do, what are our distance requirements right now?
Cereal malt beverage for sale is 200 feet, and for alcoholic liquor is 500 feet.
And is it from the
property line to property line?
Okay.
And see, there's a little differences in there. Start looking at the ordinances. A lot of them, distance requirements say sale. They do not just say consumption. So if you were having a private event over there where there was no sale going on, then there is no distance requirement there if it's a private event, which muddies the water a little bit more. So we're getting in and setting entertainment districts. I think we've become better truly defining what we're talking about at this point to where we want to do those instead of getting into all the muddy water, whether it's a private event or whether they're charging or not, or those type of things that are there. Like Georgie's event, they don't charge for the alcohol.
No, they bring it in.
That's the individuals bringing it in, so it's private. So we went ahead and did the distance requirement anyway, thinking that we wanted to be safe. But by the ordinance, she's not selling, so we really wouldn't have had to have done the distance requirement. So they've become really muddy.
And then what's covered by the distance requirements? Is it schools and churches?
Library.
And
School, church, library.
Cereal malt beverage, 200 feet is the schools and churches. The library's added in on the 500 feet for alcoholic liquor.
Well, what will that do then to the historical? The library's just right across the street.
We can designate
Certain areas?
entertainment centers.
Okay.
Mr. Benner?
If we designated certain entertainment areas in particular spots in Riggs Park, in a pack, maybe somewhere else, would that then mean that we could not approve something in the future if it didn't fit into what our entertainment areas were and they didn't come back and want a waiver? Would we still be able to use the waiver process?
If we leave the distance requirements in, then yes, we have the ability to go through that if they're wanting something that's not in a set entertainment area. Yeah, so I mean, someone may come up in some other park that wants to have one somewhere, they truly would have to go through the distance requirements at that point. If if they were not designated as an entertainment center.
And request a waiver, and
And
we would
request a
do.
waiver, yes, we still have to go through that. Is he,
What about the senior center? They rent,
what about it?
well, they rent that out also.
Well,
Will they be
we did a waiver for
considered?
them. Well, yeah, if you want to designate senior center too, it's up to what council may want
I
to
just think that's
designate out there and what you feel is where you want to designate. Mr. Crum?
Well, I guess because this is just listed as discussions, I'd be interested, I think, what I feel like and what I kind of feel like we're hearing from the council is that it may be something we'd really want to consider. What I'd really like to see is maybe a recommendation from staff of what areas in town we might consider for this, because it's to the point now to where the distance waiver might be outdated, especially with the large amount of land that the school district owns, the large amount of land that the city owns, so we're always gonna have stuff buttoned up against each other. But I'd kinda like to see a recommendation of specific areas. I mean, I have in my head probably what they are, but like I wouldn't have thought of the senior center right off, so I'd be kinda interested to let the staff get something together and let us take a look at that, and then maybe have a more in-depth discussion about just doing it.
Yeah, we wanted to start the discussion is what we wanted to do at this point, where we're looking for emotions anywhere, but yeah, truly a discussion on what your ideas, what you're thinking at this point. Wasn't any reason to go forward if there was a total no way type of a discussion off of it at this point.
Well, I would say we might be hurt tonight that we're not really excited about having it outside the hack.
We did hear that, that has set some parameters there, I think, from what we had several council people talking at that point.
So we don't need any kind of motion or anything.
No, we just want discussion and get enough discussion out. Any more discussion, council has about it? We will then, we'll put something together and bring it back and see if that's what you want to do as far as those go. Yes.
Could we go ahead and touch base with the school district and the churches in town, maybe see what they think about what they would feel like if we got rid of the waiver, if they see it as a problem, just so we could get their input.
Yeah, I mean, we may also want to do a waiver too, besides making entertainment districts. Yeah, sure. No problem. Anything else, council? If nothing, we're going to move on then to consideration of the request for the sand volleyball court expenditures.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight is the sand volleyball project. Included in your packet a layout and also a cost sheet with this project. Some of the amenities we're adding to the area are 2 canopies, wrought iron fence on the outside by the Hack parking lot, and also a sidewalk. We're also upgrading the sand on the new court and also the lighting as well. I can answer any questions. The total cost expenditures is $27,602.88. I can answer any questions if you have any.
These have been planned, we know, for quite a while, that we'd looked at previously in the park, that type of thing. They were going to not be done because of the potential of the pool. Now that the pool is not going there, I don't know if everyone was over 4th of July and saw the number of teams we had just waiting and standing around to use the volleyball courts. And the evening for our youth has become very large, using those over there also. And everyone had also brought their own sunshades, so this will basically with sunshades. Mr. Crum?
How far off the end of the volleyball courts will a wrought iron fence be?
Probably gonna put it right up next to the sidewalk there on the north side. And basically, it's gonna have a concrete mow strip as well, so the Parks Department doesn't have to weed eat it or mow it. They'll be able to.
But you know what that distance is?
They'll be right onto the sidewalk.
But the distance between the end of the court, the volleyball
Yeah,
court.
about
to
30 feet.
Okay. And then does the parking for the Hack parking lot come up right to the sidewalk?
Correct. The north side of that sidewalk is actually the back of curb. And also, just to go in a little detail, the west court there, the sand that you see, that's not all inbound play. It's like if you compare it to the east side court, that white line's white PVC. Mostly that's where all the play happens. It doesn't actually, they don't play outside of somebody shooting the ball or
Sometimes you
anything.
play outside of it.
Not very rarely.
What he's saying is what you see on the larger area is actually way outside of the boundaries of the actual court.
Okay.
So you do mostly stay in the sand.
Okay, so, and the sidewalk is actually on the edge of the parking lot, so the people that are using the hack or the pool use that sidewalk.
Correct, kind of what we did on the west side of the parking lot there between the hack and the pool. Had that sidewalk there right off the parking.
And then are those canopies like we do at the pool, will those come down in the wintertime?
Correct. These courts get played quite regularly. There's about a group of 40 to 60 20-year-olds over there almost 2 or 3 times a week, let alone Georgia has league there as well, and this gives her better capability of holding tournaments and her league as well.
Mr. Kessler?
No, there won't be any seating, right? So people bring their own chairs.
No, we didn't do that just because we don't know under the canopies which side of the court they're going to be watching, so it kind of gives them the ability to bring their own chairs and face which court they want to.
Go ahead and make a motion that we approve the equipment for the extension of the sand volleyball courts in the total amount of $27,602.88.
Second.
First, second to approve the addition to the volleyball courts, 27,602.88. Discussion? Question?
Kessler?
Yes.
Kaniga?
Yes.
Burden?
Yes.
Ewert?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Parton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes. Thank you.
Move on to economic development survey. Here it comes.
Come on, Mac.
Is that job still open?
It is closed for applications, but we'll be doing interviews here coming up. But yes, excited about filling that position. Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have before you 75 pages of the community survey. Briefly touch on a couple of highlights. We took a different approach this year and left it with really open-ended questions. I felt like the previous year's surveys weren't giving us that much information, and I wanted to hear what people had to say, and they did not disappoint. Hope you made some popcorn to read the comments. But you know, I want to note that each department was rated favorably. I mean, yeah, there's some, like I said, some comments in the department we were kind of reading it with a grain of salt, trying to find the constructive criticism in some of the comments, and others there were some good positive comments. Police department scored the highest, so that's a good deal. I kind of thought that's sorry, recreation, Georgie didn't score the highest, but they're the lowest, but they do deal with people's children, so we're kind of taking that into account. So you know, everybody's tending to get their the other thing was what devices people are using. A lot of people are using mobile devices for their internet. A lot of them have access to the internet. We surveyed for Wi-Fi City. Curious to see what businesses were offering Wi-Fi. McDonald's seemed to kind of top out on the business response for people using Wi-Fi. But again, smartphone, we're seeing that across the board in almost every facet. Smartphones and tablets are overtaking desktops. So the other key takeaways that were like, if money were no option, which would you like to see in Haysville, whether it be a business or just something, an establishment like a dog park, sports bar and grill and coffee shop were the high up there, as well as kind of a sports entertainment complex. Those were the top 4. And then, let's see. We did increase our responses about 125 from last year, so that is up. We'll hopefully, my goal is to do better next year, getting more hard copies out.
What was your total of that?
565 responses, so that's a pretty good sample size for our population. So again, hopefully we'll increase that. I had a goal of 1,000, but I didn't quite get there. So. I guess I can, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. I mean, takeaways are what you take away from it, so I'm open to questions on the community survey before I move on to...
Is it on the website?
Is it on the website? We have not, well, I was letting council...
After tonight.
After tonight we'll post it.
So it'll be going to the website if anyone really wants to go through in detail on it.
Correct. And then the WABA Home Show, we had tablets out for people to do interview or to take surveys. We call them EDUC questions because they weren't so much, they were more to inform than they were to really ask questions and rate. We asked the same question twice. The first question and the last question were the same. It was to see what people's perceptions of where Haysville were before they took the survey. Then they'd read the EDUC questions and maybe realize that there's maybe a little more to our community than what they maybe have thought. And then we asked the same question again. I noticed that we had like 45 responses initially from neutral to very bad on the first question. The last time we asked it, that number was cut in half. So, and there were 0 completely dissatisfied or 0 stars. So I think that's a good takeaway that it was a good success. So again, I'm open to questions on the survey. Anything you'd like to see for next year's survey, I'm always, my door's always open. Shoot me an email. I think we'll add some more stuff on age for the community survey next year. Kind of get a better sense of our demographic. So see who's responding on these surveys.
Okay, questions for Zach? Okay, I'm gonna send you back to the dungeon.
All right, thank you.
Item 7, department report. Hey, Administrator Russo.
At the Haysville Historic Hometown Market, we had a very big bump up in visitors this last Saturday, and that's probably mostly attributable to the 060 rocks that we had going on, which is the rock painting, which, if you guys have heard about that, people take the rocks and write on them or paint on them, kind of inspirational type things, and then put them in different locations around the city, and people are able to find them and then either keep them or place them somewhere else or place them back where they received them. Anyway, we had 138 rock painters there on Saturday, and the market went from the previous week of 187 total visitors to 347 total visitors, and we're going to continue on with the tables there where children can come, or children and adults can come and paint rocks for the next several weeks.
Good. You wanna paint a rock?
That's taken off, because I'm on that Facebook page and everybody's out. So kids and family alike. Jorky.
Janie's ready.
I'm ready. Just election news. Okay, as you know, August 1st is our primary. There are 4 candidates running that day. But we do have advanced voting at the library, and I think Councilman Crum mentioned that last council meeting. July 27th and 28th from 12 to 7 p.m. at the library, and also July 29th from 9 to 4 at the library.
Okay. See, please, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have several things this evening. We'll start with our visiting officer, that's Sergeant Young. He's visiting tonight. He is our day shift street supervisor, so he's out there. Say hi to him as you go by. The next thing that I have is some follow-up from last council meeting in reference to firework numbers and the non-emergency line. I did get some numbers from 911. In 2016, which was last year, they took approximately 770 calls on the non-emergency line. Now, that's county-wide, it's not just for Haysville. This year there were 826. So there was a slight increase in the number of calls that actually came in. They kind of attributed that to maybe some weather issues back in 2016 because there was some rain and things like that that may have kept people from shooting some fireworks on those times. The average calls that they have into 911, now these are all the calls, not just the non-emergency line, but July 1st through early morning on July 5th, they had almost 9,000 calls, which is approximately 2,200 calls per day, which is compared to the normal day of 1,500 calls. So you can see there's an increase of about 700 calls a day into 911. So therefore, that's the necessity to have the non-emergency number, so people are calling that number and not necessarily calling the other one. As far as Haysville numbers, we had just a handful of firework complaints that were after the times, things like that. Most citizens were compliant, and if we had to go by and tell anybody to put them away, they did that. We didn't have any citations issued or anything like that that I'm aware of during that time. So that was kind of some follow-up on some numbers there. Wanted to remind everybody that August 12th and 13th is a citywide garage sale. During that time, just be patient. We get a lot of traffic into town. It is a very big event, so just be mindful of the speed limits. Every place in residential areas, it's 20 miles an hour, as it always has been. The main streets are 35, which is Grand and Seneca. Just remember to be patient with people. Also, I know there's been some talk on the social media places around town. Golf carts are not allowed on city streets. I just wanted to let everybody know that. No golf carts on city streets. No utility vehicles of any kind. Cars, trucks, bicycles, those are all fine. Bicycles are a pretty good way to get around. We have officers out on bikes during that time also, because it's a lot easier to get around than trying to move a car up and down some of those streets that are pretty busy. So I just wanted to remind everybody of that. If you have a question as to whether or not your golf cart is allowed, you're welcome to call the police station, and we'll help you out with that and show you where the ordinance is. The ordinance is on our website also. It's in the STO book, which is the standard traffic ordinance. Let's see, the last thing that I have is Coffee with a Cop. The next one is Wednesday, August 9th. It'll be at the Hack. Sorry, Georgie, if you were going to mention that one. Be at 8 o'clock, from 8 o'clock to 9:30. So if you're out and about, want to come by the Hack, come by, say hi, and we'll be there. And then also the other thing that we're going to do at the Hack is on August 2nd, the week before Coffee with a Cop, we're going to do National Night Out. So we'll have the pool open that night for anybody that wants to come. The pool's free. There'll be a bunch of different booths set up like we have in the past, with different food and things. Food's all free. Just come out, have a good time, get to know your neighbors. That's the biggest thing. We just have a lot of times when people tell us, well, I don't really know my neighbors, those kind of things. So come on out, have a good time, get to know your police officers, get to know your city officials, anybody that's there, different groups from around Haysville. It's a good time. Everybody usually has fun. There will be a dunk tank. I cannot guarantee that I'll be in the dunk tank this year.
August 2nd or August 1st?
Second.
August 1st, I'm sorry.
Oh, first.
He said
Tuesday.
Yes,
The
he did
first,
say
yeah, I was thinking a week. But
That's on
it
Tuesday.
is August 1st, Tuesday, August 1st. That's all I have.
Mr. Kraft, question?
One other thing, and this is kind of something for council too, because this just occurred to me a while back. I'd kind of be curious, do we pick up a lot more stray dogs during the firework shooting time, do you know?
There's no increase in the number of dogs we pick up. The biggest spikes that we have in animal control issues are during big thunderstorms. As far as during the times of fireworks, there's no increase.
Okay, because I was just going to suggest, I know there's a lot of people who have animals that freak out during fireworks and stuff, and so the reason I asked that is because I was wondering if maybe during that time we would allow some kind of a waiver on the fee if somebody's animal get picked up. But if we're not getting a real big spike, maybe that's something we don't need to worry about. But that was just something that occurred to me, because on Facebook people were always talking about how it's upsetting their dogs and stuff, and so I thought maybe we had an upkick on how many strays we were having to pick up, but if we're not, then...
And I saw that and wondered the same thing. Went back and looked at numbers. There's no spike in the numbers for that period of time.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Chief.
The National Night Out, I believe it starts at 6.
Thank you.
6 to 8.
Yep, August 1st, Tuesday.
Good.
Got it.
Tony?
Just want to provide you guys with a few updates. West Grand Turn Lane opened up temporarily on Friday. It is tentatively scheduled to close again on August 2nd to be slurry sealed and striped. That should take approximately 3 days. After that is done, it'll be completely open. Also, North Lamar Avenue, we were doing a 125-foot concrete apron. That opened up this morning as well. Our next concrete project will be Sarah Lane, just west of North Main. We'll be doing another 125-foot concrete apron. This project will be starting the week of July 31st. And also our slurry seal contractor will be in town August 2nd, starting on West Grand, and then starting on the rest of the slurry seal street list. Thank you.
Good, thanks, Doug. Georgie?
If you have anything left.
She took it all.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yeah, I think you did take it all. We're still taking registrations for fall soccer and then youth volleyball. We will have the pool closing on Sunday, August 13th at 6:30. And then this Thursday, just a reminder for everybody, we are having our grand opening celebration That will be at 6 o'clock. We will have a ribbon cutting. We're going to have hot dogs, drinks, cake, and cookies. We'll be doing tours throughout. We'll have some giveaways and then also some prizes that we'll do at the end of the night around 6:50. So I invite everyone to come out and check out the facility. It's turned out really nice. If you haven't been there, definitely come out. Please get a cookie or cake. So. And then National Night Out, I believe the swimming portion of that doesn't start until 6:30. Activities do start at 6. Just want to remind everybody of that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jordan. Item 8, appointments, we have none. Item 9, opportunities to be heard. Anyone that would like to speak to council? Seeing no one, we would move item 10, executive session. We have none. Item 11, 8, bills to be paid for the last half of July.
I'd like to make a motion that we pay the last half of July bills.
Second.
So second, to pay the last half of July bills. Discussion, questions?
Kessler,
Yes.
Knaga,
Yes.
Burton,
Yes.
Hewitt,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Item 12, consent agenda, we have nothing. Item 13, council concerns. Council? Any concerns today, Mr. Crum?
First off, I'd like to thank Public Works for going over and checking out the alleyway between Van Arsdale and Stewart. I guess they pretty much got that cleaned up the very next day. I don't know if we found out who did it, but we got everything cleaned up. And I did also want to mention with National Night Out that the police department does supply hot dogs. You guys do the water too? You do, don't you?
Yes.
And then Haysville Healthy Habits will have watermelon, grapes, cherries, other fruits like that. It's one of their big events that they really enjoy helping with, and so all the healthy stuff will be given by Haysville Healthy Habits.
Go next door, work out.
And hot dogs are? Hot dogs?
Hot dogs aren't really healthy.
No.
Oh.
They're not as healthy as watermelon, grapes, and cherries. Not that.
I don't care.
That's all I have.
Mr. Archer?
I was having an issue with trying to get online to fill out the council form, and Janie, we got that squared away, but on the southeast corner of Ward Parkway and Main, or Grand, where they had the fire.
Oh, yeah, that house.
That house, the grass is getting extremely high. I've got several calls from neighbors complaining of that house, the fencing.
It's house on the south side of Grand, correct?
Yes.
That property was abated on Friday.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's become abandoned, is what's happened to it.
No, kind of wondered if that would.
It was on code enforcement already and become abandoned, so we had to go through the process to abate it.
Oh, okay. All right, that's all I have.
Mr. Knaga?
Between 2nd and 4th, as you go down Meridian, the city and the schools keeping the ditch mowed and everything, and then you come to the area, I think it's county, it's just a short area there that nobody's keeping mowed. I wonder, can we get in touch with the county and see if they'll mow their ditch?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Seeing no additional items, we'll go to the council action request updates.
All right, we got a few. 6408 South Osage, this property was also abated last Friday. Just go on through 6410 South Osage. The RV now has rock underneath it, so the case is considered closed by staff. 801 West Sunflower, visual inspection last week reveals the grass was mowed, case considered closed as well. 825 West Sunflower, this property was initially owned by Bank of America, which was managed by Safeguard Properties with the burn garage. Since this time, this property has been purchased by an individual. We're in the process right now trying to reach that individual. Basically what they're not doing is mowing the west side of the drive at all. They're mowing the property, but it's not all the way to the west property line. The west side of the tracks access road, investigation revealed that the city is responsible for mowing 15 feet east of the rear property line of Osage. We were previously mowing up to the railroad property almost, so Directed staff to mow 15 feet east of the rear property line at these addresses on Osage. And it is in our normal rotation of being mowed as well. And 145 North Main Street, the red SUV has been moved off the grass and is now considered closed. I can answer any questions if you guys have any.
Questions about any of those properties, Council?
Otherwise, I'll run.
Seeing none, thank you, Tony. Item 14, adjournment.
Mayor and council, make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
Post second to adjourn, discussion, question.
Kessler?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Groden?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Parton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.